Welcome to Observations, coming to you over 6 networks in northern Nevada and aired over 7 television stations. We're celebrating our 10-and-a-half-year anniversary, and we decided to bring back a guest who has not been on for a very long time. And what a guest he was and what a guest he is. It's really something when you got an idea and you do something with it. When you want to, pardon the expression, make a difference, and you really do. We have a barn burner today, and I think that my goal is when you get done watching this show, you're going to say, yeah, I'm ready. And what are you ready for? Do you have power? Do you really have power? Do you own it? And what does that mean? Do you own it? Oh, we're going to have some good fun. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Is that thing getting closer? Look how high that thing's going. Look out there. Look at the debris.
Give me the camera.
No, just drive. I've got it.
Zoom in, zoom in.
I can't believe this is happening.
Oh, what's the size of that thing?
It's everywhere.
Are you getting this?
Yeah, I've got it. What was that?
It's the National Guard.
How'd they get here so fast?
I don't know.
Pull over. Pull over.
Do you have what it takes to head into the heart of the storm? Check out NationalGuard.com.
Make sure your bases are covered, whether you rent or own. Make a home inventory. It's the first step to be sure you have proper insurance coverage. And it's easy to keep track of the things you value. Download a free home inventory app now at doi.nv.gov. And be safe at home.
Safe.
Find helpful tips and download the app at the Nevada Division of Insurance website, doi.nv.gov.
When Ryan Costella came on my show a number of years ago, I listened very carefully to what he had to say. And boy, did it sound good. And the potential with what he wanted to do was astounding. And I'm not sure that I believed 100% in Ryan, because it did sound so good. That people would be able to do something in their actions that served as an empowerment. That people would want to do something and really make a difference. They would own their actions. Well, the years have gone by, and you know what? This dreamer over there is no longer a dreamer, because action speaks louder than words. Ryan Costella, you look pretty good.
Thanks. Great
Things
to
are
be
going
back.
well, huh?
They're going great. Really good.
Now, I want you to share with the audience, I want you to go way back when in time.
Okay.
At what moment did Empowerment Nevada come into your brain? Because you were doing a lot of things.
Sure.
Share a little bit. Let's go back in time. I want my viewing audience to know that you're not just another guy.
Well, so, gosh, back in, I want to say 2009, something like that, I was actually doing some work, political work with a team of people. And actually a good friend of yours, Dana Andrus with Ad Moguls, she and I were leading a team. And we were talking about how to really achieve, I think, in practice, one of these concepts that we've been throwing around all the time, which is citizens being more active and more empowered to own their roles in our society, because that's how a democracy really functions best. And we were tossing around all sorts of ideas.
It's a lot easier to sit on the sidelines.
Well, yeah.
It's a lot easier to go to a party instead of giving it.
It's true. I mean, looking in the mirror and taking ownership for your actions, for your role in society is not an easy thing to do whatsoever. Democracy is not easy. I always say if you want to get something done quickly, authoritarianism is the way to go, because it's very swift and it's very efficient, but it certainly isn't good for the human experience. And so we had a lot of brainstorming and thinking and energy, and all of a sudden the light bulb went on. And we realized that the term "own it" is what we were about. Own it with
And
an
what does
exclamation
it
point.
mean to really own something?
Well, think about it. When you tell someone to own it, you're saying to them, hey, you're better than that. You're capable of being responsible. It's not a negative thing. It's not a blaming action.
People don't want to be responsible.
They do, though. I think people do want to be
You
responsible.
really think they do?
Yeah, that's what our country was built on. I think that's what this community, for sure, in Reno, and certainly the state, and I think the country that's what people want. Look at the international world. Look at Hong Kong right now. You've got people in the streets demanding that they be allowed to own it. They don't need some government or one party telling them what to do and limiting their rights. They want to choose their own destinies, and that's what this country's built on. And so we basically created an organization that really stands for this concept of own it. It's not partisan. It's not about right, left, red, blue, any of that nonsense. It's really about looking in the mirror and taking your role, whether you're a mother or a father or brother, sister, wife, husband, community member, leader, whatever you find yourself doing in life, look in the mirror and own what needs to be done, plain and simple. I don't get to define that for you. You don't get to define it for me, but we know what's right and wrong. We know what needs to be done. And if we all just did a little more of that, this place does amazing things.
Now, if I took phone calls, the lights would be blinking because you talked about red and blue and that nonsense. That is the nonsense right now that we have. The election's long gone over. I don't know how you heal a country. I don't know how you heal a state. I don't know how you heal a community when for months and months you say the most rotten things about another human being, and your job is to take their any success. You destroy their reputation. The reputation. That's what politics is all about.
Yeah.
Let's spend zillions of dollars instead of feeding the poor. Let's spend zillions of dollars instead of rebuilding infrastructure. And let's say that Ryan Costella, you did this and you did that. So how do we all of a sudden say to the Reds and the Blues, who are not going to come together, because in politics today you are really taught you don't get together. Listen, I never believed it until, and I go to Washington, D.C. all the time,
Sure.
and I've been going to Washington, D.C., Tel Aviv for over 2 decades. There are certain places where Democrats do not go, and there are certain places where Republicans do not go.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to the fact that we're Americans?
Good question.
I don't know. That's
question.
not for this show. But what it is you're talking about empowerment. Somehow you got this bug in your head that you want to do something, and you want people to take hold of their lives, to own it.
Yes. I mean,
So it's been a couple of years. What has happened since you came on the show and you talked about all that jazz?
well, the exciting thing is, we came on pretty, in the first couple of years of getting going with our organization, and it was very fresh, and we were still working out, I think, a lot of kind of what our plan was going to be. And today we're actually looking at seeing some of our long-term goals from that initial plan come to life, which is to your point earlier, to take an idea and something that my team and I feel so passionate about and talk about and can envision is one thing. But then to actually see some of those parts start to fall into place and really have the potential to affect thousands of lives in a way where it's not us doing it, they're actually embodying the spirit we're talking about in the true sense of empowerment. That's a wonderful feeling, and it is really exciting to talk about. It's not that there's not a lot of work to be done. It's not that there's not a huge mountain still in front of us, but we are much, I think we're very well equipped to scale that mountain, and we're very excited and energized. And so would love to talk about some of the the things that are
Well,
that
that's
are
what
up with us.
we're going to be doing. We're going to be
Great.
taking a break, and then when we come back, I want Ryan to tell you some of the stuff he's done leading up to what he's doing now, and then instead of talking philosophy, let's talk actuality.
And he's making his way out onto the field. He's going to risk it all and call his own number. He's going for it. Boy, what a dicey move. What an intense moment. Look at that determination, breaking tackles along the way. Is he going to make it? This is not looking good. Wait a minute. It appears like he's struggling to keep it together. Oh, no! He lost it! It's a fumble! But wait, a designated driver steps in with the save and makes the recovery. Be a good sport and never drive impaired. Designate a sober driver and drive safe.
Every year, thousands of our citizens are injured or die in traffic accidents. It doesn't necessarily have to be that way. Two simple rules: eyes on the road and hands on the wheel. You look away for a second and lives change forever. Eyes on the road, hands on the wheel. This message brought to you by NDOT, in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
Welcome back to Empowerment Nevada. Ryan Costella. Ryan, where were you born?
Reno, Nevada, St. Mary's Hospital.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Where'd you go to school?
Carson High School.
Did you get a good education?
I did.
When you were at Carson, who were your heroes?
Who are my heroes? My parents, unquestionably.
Really?
They still are. Yes.
Still are. Oh, man,
Absolutely.
do I love that answer.
Absolutely.
All right, so you're going to college? Now what? What do you want to do?
Well, after college, I went to college at Villanova University, and then I went on.
I love the
to
way you say I
graduate
went
school.
to Villanova. Is a great school.
It is a good school.
It's great.
It's just far from here, so
All right, so you went to Villanova. Then
Yeah.
what? What'd you study?
I studied political science and English, and then studied some Chinese as well, and then did a graduate degree overseas, focused on the Chinese economy
And where was that done at?
at Cambridge University in England.
Okay, I want the
And,
viewing audience all this stuff. Really, Villanova? And now he went to Cambridge in England, and
It was
he's
fun.
studying Chinese.
Yeah.
There's a pattern there. Yeah. Then what?
And then I went on from there, went into work in the United States Senate for several years for Senator Bob Casey, and from Pennsylvania. Great man. Learned a lot. It was at the end of Bush, start of Obama, so I learned a tremendous amount. And then came back to Nevada, where I've been involved in a number of things in the private sector related to manufacturing and that kind of thing. But my real passion,
What does that mean?
well, my job that pays the bills. I work for a manufacturing company that specializes in the design and manufacture of technology for the aerospace industry primarily.
Okay, see, all of a sudden you're taking something simple and saying, "Whoa, let's pay a little bit more attention to him."
Well, so that's been a great experience. But not inconsistent with that. But my passion is Empowerment Nevada, and that came to life almost 5 years ago. And
What was its thesis? What was its mission statement?
the mission, the real idea is that we want to motivate and empower normal people in this country, whatever walk of life you're in, to own it every single day. And we believe that if people can actually do more of that and the own it mentality becomes more dominant in our culture, then a lot of the problems that are the focal point for the bickering and the partisanship and all that, they'll actually start to resolve themselves, and we'll start to be able to conduct ourselves, I think, a little more respectfully, focusing on bigger goals and common strategies to reach those goals, instead of really focusing on how we can best tear each other down with no real idea of what we're trying to achieve. So,
And in the olden days, I wouldn't believe it. I wouldn't buy into it. But then I look at politics in the state of Nevada,
yeah.
and I look at Governor Brian Sandoval. Brian Sandoval has proven that if you own it and you use some common sense and some kindness and you've done your homework, look what is happening to the state of Nevada. We are at the beginning of what could be the golden era.
Yeah.
That year 151 may be the best one ever.
Yeah.
So let's get specific, okay? Sure. You've now set the stage. So what are you working on?
Gosh, so we're continuing to work on disseminating the Own It message. And, I love coming on this show because you have a huge audience and it's a diverse audience, and it's great to update people on our progress. So, thank you for that. So we're continuing to get our word out through those traditional means. But, there's been a couple things just this year that I think are really exciting. One, at the start of New Year's, I guess the very tail end of last year, start of this year, we had a big party downtown in Reno. And, at the strike of midnight, fireworks go off, and there's all these fun, arguably debaucherous activities going on down under the arch, and a lot of trash is left. And at the party that we were at, we handed out Empowerment Nevada Own It trash bags to the people at the party and said, hey, take a bag, take an extra, give it to someone down there. This isn't some big organized thing. Just do it. You'll know what to do.
And when the sun came up, the trash was still there.
Half hour after the fireworks were over, the bags were next to the receptacles. The street was open the next morning. Several people said that they've never seen the street open the next morning. The city didn't have to pay, the taxpayers didn't have to pay to come clean it up. Voila, it was just a simple action. It wasn't a big volunteer activity. It was just part of our daily routine. So I think that shows the power of the mentality we're talking about. Just imagine if that mentality existed in every person and was adopted at some point every day, this community, this state would be in a heck of a lot better.
You know what I used to do? I used to do youth trips on buses.
Yeah.
We used to do our bus trip, and we would go here and we would go there. And the kids would love to talk philosophy, and they'd love to, I care about what's going on here, and I care about what's going on there. And I said, you know what? I only care about one thing. Don't talk to me about what's going on in Europe. Talk to me about what's going on in this bus.
Yeah.
Don't talk to me.
Good point.
That's right.
Yeah.
What's going on in this bus? Are you picking up after yourself? Don't start this environment jazz.
Yeah, while your rapper's on the floor.
While your rapper's on the floor. And don't talk about, well, we need to all sit together and sing Kumbaya. Well, how can you do that when 3 of you aren't talking to 6 of you?
Yeah.
It starts
That's
with
a great
the bus.
Example.
So what you're talking about is it started with a trash bag. What's another example of what's going on?
So another thing that we're really excited about is we're partnering, and I don't want to be too specific because it's not, but we're partnering with a middle school, a local middle school, and we're actually had a great meeting with the principal and her leadership team, and we're actually about to meet with the students, and they're looking at ways to incorporate Own It into their entire culture as a school. So everything from their hall passes to their evaluations to, the tools that kids are given, to the tools the teachers are using, to the parent-teacher engagement, to the community engagement, is going to embody this concept of Own It. And it really is a daily, constant reminder that, hey, we got to all look in the mirror. It's the kind of thing when used properly, a student can say to another student, hey, own it. And the act of doing that is saying to someone, I believe in you. You're capable of better. So what we hope is, in looking at the results that will come from this work early in 2015, will be reduced bullying, increased teaching going on in the classroom, less discipline, maybe even improved facilities budgets in terms of not having to clean up graffiti and that kind of stuff, higher parent engagement, higher community engagement, and maybe even outside the classroom. We're looking at providing the students. Empowerment Nevada is looking at underwriting some tools that are actually going to be teaching tools for the students to bring Own It into their homes, into the broader community. And we're really confident that the results that come out of this work are going to be so tangible that this is going to catch like fire, and other schools are going to want to actually adopt similar concepts.
We're going to take a break.
Okay.
You scare me.
Sorry.
Because it makes sense. It makes sense. We'll be right back.
Fathers, sons, daughters, mothers. These are the faces working in roadwork zones to improve our roads. There are over 1,000 roadwork zone deaths every year in the United States. So slow down and drive safely in roadwork zones for your safety and the safety of those working there.
Your home, Whether you own or rent, it's not just the place you live, it's where you keep the things you value the most, things that could disappear in a wildfire. And while you can't predict when or how a fire might affect your home, you can be prepared in case it does with a home inventory. It's easy with free helpful tools from the Nevada Division of Insurance. Make a home inventory, review your policy, and contact the Nevada Division of Insurance if you have insurance questions. You can make a difference.
As long as Ryan Costella is talking about a project that's going on as an experiment in one of our schools, I want to do a shout out to Reno High School. I want to tell you something. I have never seen such a clean school in my life. I would eat off of the halls and the floor because that's how clean that school is. So I want to tell you, man, there's got to be a lot of school pride there. I couldn't believe it.
Wow.
So if you've done a trash bag and now you're doing something, who pays the bills? How are you raising money?
Citizens like you and like great citizens across Nevada contribute to our efforts, and they help fund what we're able to do. You know, we have a small office and that kind of thing, so our operational expenses aren't tremendous. But then really it's the marketing of our brand, our message, the ability to go to a school and be able to underwrite the tools and help produce the things that are going to help them make this part of their culture.
Well, what has happened from the mystery school going backwards to the garbage bag?
So in that process, I mean, we did a lot of analysis on what was the impact of the trash bags. It was huge. I mean, anecdotally, many people, including in downtown, came up to me and said, we have never seen the streets this clean. And we didn't have to pay anyone to do it. We didn't have to announce a big volunteer initiative. We didn't have to, it just was clean. And we said, yeah, no kidding. And so then that started a brainstorming exercise where we really came up with the concept of, okay, we're, for the past 4 years, have been really targeting adults, and that's great. But the way you really stop the cycle of "oh me" mentality and you get to own it is you start reaching to the next generation. So we spent a significant amount of time planning and brainstorming and thinking of what's the best way to institute this to the next generation and have a lasting impact, which is, you know, the biggest contribution we can make in this
Sure.
space.
Well,
and we were able to come up with, we need to target some schools. And so we got in touch with the district, and we were able to basically go through a lot of administrative steps to be able to be working with this middle school, which we're
and
super
your
excited
program
about.
is spelled out in writing.
Yeah, it's very exciting. So, and you know, we had the incredible thing about both the trash bag example and what's happening with the school is that it's not my team and I doing really too much other than bringing our brand and definition of what we're talking about. Then it's unleashing their potential in the creative process. And basically, they're the ones driving the ship here. We're trying to provide the support to enable them, but they're the ones, in a truly empowered sense, taking the Own It message and bringing it to life in ways that, frankly, we would never have thought of. It's unbelievable.
What has, besides the bags,
Yeah.
what has been your greatest success since the last time that you've been on this program? Yeah.
You know, I've been the most excited coming out of a meeting just a couple weeks ago with the middle school and the principal and her leadership team, which consists of a bunch of cross-functional teachers, and now having the opportunity to engage with the students. That was a long-term goal that we set out 5 years ago. And to actually see that we're being embraced by our term "Own It" and our brand and our concept of empowerment is being embraced by these people in the exact way that we've envisioned, where I don't know who's a Democrat or who's a Republican around that table. All I know is they're about what awesome results can come by bringing this and making it part of the culture. And the exciting thing is they're not just talking about the schools, they're talking about how to bring this and make it part of the community and how to make this part of what parents talk about at home. They're talking about something much bigger than just the school. And I'm really, really proud and excited that this conversation about what we mean by Own It is finally in action, and someone else is running with the ball. We're just feeling the fire now. And a lot of organizations thrive on the principals and the head people doing the stuff for folks. What true success for us looks like are other people taking it and running with it and defining it for themselves. And then all of us get to celebrate and talk about the impacts that that behavior has. You know, in a school system, increased attention in the classroom, less bullying, that kind of thing. In a community, it's less crime. In a home, it's more time spent around that dinner table with parents and kids communicating about important issues. Those things aren't happening now, and as a result of this message, they are going to happen.
Well, the challenge is
huge.
You're not talking about a table that you can feel. You're talking about a tangible concept that we have to work together.
Yes.
We have to really support one another.
Yeah.
That's got to be really tough.
Yeah, but you know, people get it. You know, I think people in their raw human form really strive to be responsible, and they want to have basically ownership over where their life goes and where their community goes. And I mean, we're seeing that come to life now, and it's almost like we've broken through all the muck, and there's this really genuine piece of our culture that makes us different, and it's that ability to say, I am responsible. It's the greatest right I have as part of being in a democracy.
Then maybe instead of calling it what you are, you call it, I am responsible.
Yeah, I mean, that's how some people take it. I am responsible, you know. But to me, the term "own it" really encapsulates everything from looking in the mirror and saying that to yourself to calling out another person. It means something consistent to all different types.
I am responsible because I own it.
Yeah, that can work.
Because enough of what is going on. And if we've learned anything from this recent election, we may not want people elected because there is more money spent destroying your opponent, as opposed to the Brian Sandoval inspiring, absolutely exciting messages with his paid ads that started the last month of the campaign.
Well, and that's what we ultimately want to do too, is put messages about Own It, about the power of this message in this culture out into the world to compete with all the noise, because that is what energizes people. That's what gets people to get off their couch, press the off button, and go make a difference in whatever way possible.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Listen, I want you to understand that a program like this tries to cover all bases. So maybe today was a little bit more philosophical. Maybe it was a little bit more we're dreaming. But, you know, sometimes if you will it, if you really will it, if you really own it, it is no longer a dream. Till next week, everybody. This is Observations.
Closed captioning for Observations is provided by the Nevada Broadcasters Association.